A year ago, my life took a dramatic turn when I discovered that my fiancée had been unfaithful. The revelation was like a punch to the gut, especially when she coldly asserted that I would never find anyone like her. Fast forward to today, and I find myself in a joyful relationship with a model who had secretly harbored a crush on me since our high school days. Recently, while browsing Reddit, I stumbled upon a post about a man whose girlfriend had cheated on him. Her shockingly indifferent reaction struck a chord, bringing back painful memories of my past relationship with my ex, who I refer to as Chloe. Chloe and I first met through a dating app that was designed for people seeking serious relationships. At the time, I was 33 and she was 30. Our connection was almost instantaneous. We shared a similar sense of humor, bonded over common interests, and could engage in deep conversation for hours without losing momentum. After several weeks of chatting online, I mustered up the courage to invite her on a date. I felt a mix of excitement and insecurity, as I considered myself unworthy of her stunning beauty. To my surprise, she accepted, and our first date went exceptionally well, leading us to quickly become a couple. Everything seemed perfect at first, but soon I began to notice subtle yet unsettling changes in her behavior. Chloe was someone who naturally attracted attention from other men, a fact I initially overlooked because I trusted her completely. However, during one of our late-night conversations, the subject of hall passes came up, where partners are allowed to have a free pass with certain celebrities. She jokingly mentioned Justin Timberlake as her choice and made a disconcerting remark that lingered in my mind. I don't think there are many celebrities who would say no to me. That comment, while said in jest, sowed seeds of doubt regarding her integrity, and I began to feel uneasy. Before long, I started to witness a noticeable shift in Chloe's behavior. She began coming home later than usual, often with vague excuses for her tardiness. The once open and communicative partner became defensive and irritable whenever I raised my concerns about her disappearing acts. She claimed that her late nights were due to work-related stress. But despite her reassurances, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss, that she was hiding something significant. Eventually, I decided to confront her about my suspicions. When I asked if everything was all right, she quickly reassured me that it was just work-related stress. Although I wanted to trust her, my instincts screamed otherwise, and I felt a growing distance between us. I knew I needed to uncover the truth, which led me to consider checking her phone for any signs of infidelity. However, I quickly realized that would be nearly impossible without raising further suspicion. Instead, driven by desperation and a need for clarity, I took the drastic step of hiring a private investigator. It felt surreal, but I felt I had no other choice. The investigator agreed to follow Chloe for 10 days, and I provided him with all the necessary details, including her typical routines and the places she frequented. Those 10 days were excruciatingly long. Each evening, as Chloe returned home with increasingly flimsy excuses for her late arrivals, my conviction about her betrayal only intensified. Ultimately, the investigator called me with the confirmation I dreaded. Chloe was indeed cheating on me. He provided photographic evidence of her entering an apartment building multiple times with the same man, whom I referred to as Cody. When I saw the photos, my world shattered. I had suspected infidelity, but the stark reality of her being with another man was devastating. Without wasting any time, I confronted her. Immediately after returning home, I laid out everything I knew, presenting her with the evidence that had come to light. Her response was nothing short of shocking. She laughed and dismissed my anguish, trivializing the affair as merely a physical connection. Her arrogance was astounding, as she suggested I should be grateful to be with her, even after her betrayal. In that moment, I was filled with rage and disbelief. How could she be so indifferent to her disloyalty? The betrayal felt like a knife to my heart, and I knew I could no longer remain in a relationship with someone so callous. Without a second thought, I ended the relationship on the spot and walked away, determined to reclaim my self-worth. The following day, I returned to our shared home to collect my belongings. Chloe remained in denial, acting as if I was merely throwing a tantrum. With a smug expression, she declared, "I knew you'd be back," which only strengthened my resolve to leave her behind for good. As I began to move forward, I reflected on her arrogance and my own value. Months later, I attended my 15-year high school reunion. Initially hesitant about going, to my surprise, it turned out to be a delightful experience, allowing me to reconnect with old friends. During the event, a mutual friend revealed that Veronica, an exquisite model from my high school, had always harbored a crush on me. I was taken aback. How could someone as stunning as her be interested in someone like me? Inspired by this revelation, I reached out to Veronica on Instagram. After a few days filled with anticipation, she responded enthusiastically, and we quickly began to catch up. Our conversations transitioned to FaceTime, and it felt as though we were forming a genuine connection that transcended the years apart. Eventually, I mustered the courage to ask if we could be more than just friends, and to my delight, she agreed. Now came the challenge of long-distance dating. Veronica was a successful model, who frequently traveled for work, while I remained at home. Nevertheless, I was determined to make it work. Eager to immerse myself in her world and deepen our bond, I booked a trip to Brussels, where she was working at the time. Upon my arrival, everything felt enchanting. I accompanied her to a photo shoot, witnessing her in her element. I took photos and cheered her on, experiencing a sense of pride and connection that I hadn't felt in a long time. It was during this trip that I truly understood the depth of my feelings for her. However, amid the joy of my new relationship, I inadvertently posted a few photos on my Instagram close friends story, forgetting that Chloe was still on my list. Within hours, I received a mocking message from her, inquiring about my new girlfriend, accompanied by a laughing emoji. I calmly replied that Veronica was indeed my girlfriend, but Chloe's reaction was anything but favorable. As I reflected on my past with Chloe and her hurtful comments about how I would never find someone like her, I realized just how far I'd come. I concluded the conversation with a snarky remark about how Veronica was truly exceptional, blocking Chloe for good. Looking back, I couldn't believe the transformation in my life. I had found a kind, intelligent, and stunning partner in Veronica, and I was happier than I had ever been. With thoughts of proposing swirling in my mind, I recognized how fortunate I was that things hadn't worked out with Chloe. Had they, I would never have crossed paths with someone as remarkable as Veronica, who makes me feel valued and cherished every single day. Cheating Secrets podcast like me.